This is going to be your guide for dominating the battle tree in Pokemon Sun and Moon. So a battle tree guide is very interesting, and that's a reason why this has taken so long to make so far, is for the most part, there's not really much I can say to help you. Bring strong Pokemon, and then play like you're playing competitively, and you're going to do fairly well on average. Now, you can get hacked out, and you can have some weird things, like this is a Scarf Rock Slide Aerodactyl. You're just going to find some funniness whenever you're on the battle tree, but for the most part, just bring in strong Pokemon that you'll see other people tweeting, talking, commenting, or even making videos about having over 100 win streak, and then you look at their team, and it's nothing really that special. So it's just kind of team composition, but just make it very crazy and strong Pokemon, and that's going to be Aerodactyl struggling itself right there. So also, I think safety is one of the biggest reasons why. Like, Aegislash is a very safe Pokemon, which is why my current strategy is double Final Gambit into the Aegislash. So I'm mostly going to talk about my experiences with the battle tree and what I'm doing to succeed, and also what you're looking for. Maybe one thing that you're looking for when it comes to the battle tree is just trying to beat it as fast as possible. That you can bring a bulky Pokemon that's really safe, and then also take a little longer to kind of beat down the opponent's team. So maybe with some other strategies, you can find a way of farming battle points as fast as possible. That's what I found with this double Final Gambit strat, but it is very risky because it pretty much just puts me down to the Aegislash, and if Aegislash gets stopped, well, then I just lose the battle right there. That you almost wow, I was about to say, you don't ever want to be in a situation like this on the battle tree where you're down to your last Pokemon and then something scary shows up, but Aegislash can deal with it for the most part. So I am using the Tank Aegislash with a Figgy Berry. I have recently said that the Adamant one is better, but I think in these situations, you're going to find a lot of weird stuff on the battle tree, so just having something that can deal with everything is going to be pretty solid right there. So it looks like Aegislash is going to pull itself out of this 1v3. Yeah, I can, like, if it wasn't for the Figgy Berry, I'd be kind of screwed. I can King Shield the Braviary, hit it with the Sacred Sword, and that's kind of it. So stat boosting is also very powerful, that you'll see a lot of Pokemon just use Dragon Dance, just have a fast Pokemon with a Swords Dance or a Nasty Plot, and then you can just kind of clean through the opponents, because for the most part, they play basic strategies. Now you're going to see a bit more complex AI and some much stronger Pokemon as we get deeper into the battle tree, but sometimes that can actually be a benefit. If you're playing with all these faster Pokemon, you're playing with these stronger Pokemon, that means you're not going to see as many weird things, and that could go pretty well for you. And that's kind of it. Like, the biggest input I really have about playing the battle tree is at least have one Final Gambit Pokemon. So I'm just going to go and skip ahead to the next battle and show you guys how effective it was. Problem is, when you have Scarf Rock Slide Aerodactyl, you kind of don't get to show off what's happening since it's kind of bodying your entire strat. So we're just going to show Braviary goes down, and that's going to be a win right there. Now also, just using really powerful sweepers will give you the same effect. If you have a Mega Salamence, uses one Dragon Dance, and then mows down the entire opponent's team, that's effectively the same thing. So if you're looking for fast battles, there's a lot of ways of going about this, and I found that Raticate with Scarf, so Jolly Scarf, Alolan Raticate, does very well when it comes to the Final Gambit, especially as a lead, because I can use it for Crunch against Ghost-type Pokemon, and if the opponent somehow survives, well then I also have Excelgor. Excelgor's insanely fast, and it also isn't going to be choice item locked, so I can use that for a very powerful Final Gambit, but I can also finish off damage. So say that Arcanine or some kind of bulky Pokemon comes in and it barely survives, well I do have some other move options to coverage out for that, and again Raticate does have the Endeavor, so I was actually able to use the Endeavor to get Aerodactyl that low to begin with since it wasn't KOing me. And then you can see right here my moves, I could U-turn out if I just want to get the damage. Like, I can find the KO, go into the Aegislash, and then I'm going to be fine from there. Energy Ball and Bug Buzz for some pickup damage, but this is pretty much how it looks. So yeah, the double Final Gambit, I've done 20 battles on the battle tree, and it works. Like, there's times where, you know, it's not enough hit points to finish off the opponent, then Aegislash finishes them off with a Shadow Sneak, or they're already weakened, so now I feel very confident setting up my Swords Dance right here. Now, hopefully we don't just lose at the battle tree midway through the guide, but Aegislash has been giving me some problems. I did get bodied by a Pelipper, because it was a tank, full hit point, full defense, Rocky Helmet Pelipper, and Aegislash just couldn't do anything with a +6 on the Swords Dance. So you're going to find some weirdness now and then, and for the most part, you can also judge what the opponent's going to do. So I could just throw out the Sacred Sword, but I also like playing for that bit of safety against a normal type Pokemon. So I'll Swords Dance, and then I can King Shield, and then I can just Sacred Sword, and then we'll be good to go. Now, I was expecting the Fire Blast to a degree, And see, it's kind of strange that if they have a super effective hit, it's not going to be stab, and then you can survive something like a fire blast. And now I know with the Sacred Sword, I'm going to be able to KO it, even though it probably would have KO'd. I'm just running a careful set without any attack investment, so I like to play a little extra safe. Also, you can use damage calculators if you want to make sure you can do it. Problem is, you can find some really strange stuff on the battle spot. But there we go, guys. Like, that's the team working out right there. That's why I recommend at least one Final Gambit Pokemon. I would say choose the Excelgor, because it does have the options that you can run instead. Oh, look at that! That's a Fighting Berry, which means, yeah, the Choppa Berry weakened the damage. So it wouldn't have been enough, and if I didn't do the Swords Dance then, I think I just died of Fire Blast unless one of them misses. So I can survive another Fire Blast, and then finish off with the Sacred Sword. And the reason why I think Aegislash is a really good Pokemon as like a last follow-up Pokemon is that Sacred Sword, if they're going for Stockpile. I've seen like 7? I wanted to say 10, but that's too much of an over-exaggeration. I've seen like 7 Pokemon using Stockpile or Curse or some kind of defensive boosting. Sacred Sword also ignores evasion. I almost got bodied by a... what was it? It was a Bright Powder double team Barbarical. It just crushed all of my Final Gambit Pokemon because the Final Gambit kept missing, and at least I was able to deal with it with the Aegislash. So having something that ignores boosting, that's also something that you really want. So we get another battle down, but now let's go and transition over to the rest of the guide, because I at least want to show some hands-on stuff. A lot of the guides you find for the battle tree, they're just going to talk at you, and for the most part, it works, because you can just say, run these 3 strong Pokemon, and if you do it right, you're going to get a lot of battle points, and that's effectively how the battle tree works. I'm just kind of giving you a little bit more hands-on because it's something to look at. But yeah, bring a very powerful Mega Pokemon. Mega Lucario, yes. Mega Salamence, yes. Mega Scizor, Metagross, Charizard. All these Pokemon are really good, and now that we have the Charizard, you beat Red, you get the Charizardite, and then you can use Mega Charizard X, Dragon Dance, sweep everything. You even have the Roost if things kind of get crazy. So very safe Pokemon that the battle tree very rarely stops, and it's now available with the Pokemon Bank. Lopunny, whenever we get its Mega Stone, it's going to be very usable because of Scrappy High Jump Kick. It hits everything very consistently, and then you have other Pokemon like Scizor. It sets up 2 Bullet Punches, one-shots everything. That's good to go, but I think it's a little slower for my taste. So you have Charizard, Salamence using Dragon Dance, you have Lucario with a naturally high amount of speed. You're going to be able to do very well in the just battle tree because of that, but there's also some other Pokemon and other teams that you can run. I've seen a lot of people talk about the Snorlax, the Porygon Z. You go Normalium Z conversions. Now you actually do want conversion in the top slot because that's how the copying works and whatnot. Then you have Stab Tri-Attack with the +1 to all of your stats, and Porygon Z with the Z conversion is going to be very powerful. Mimikyu is also a good setup Pokemon that you can like Z Splash and then try to sweep a lot of things. Because you have a good amount of speed against a lot of the Pokemon that exist in 7th generation, and a lot of the Pokemon that are going to be seen on the battle tree, and you do have the Disguise ability. Tapu Koko, that's a Pokemon that a lot of people run, mostly because Nature's Madness into stuff is going to KO a lot of things, and then you just have a lot of raw damage with the Thunderbolt, Dazzling Gleam, and then a Hidden Power just to kind of coverage out. So speed and offenses is what you're looking for. Some people do run the Snorlax because you can go Gluttony into a Confusion Berry, get a lot of health, and then still do good amounts of damage while being insanely bulky. And then one of my favorites on the battle spot, or not battle spot, one of my favorites on the battle tree is going to be the Aegislash. And also, people have been running the Golisopod. I saw that video where it was like 400 wins on the battle tree. It's like, oh, just has Golisopod and then a Tapu Lele. But, you know, those are just kind of things that work. Tapu Lele, also a very, very powerful Pokemon. So you're looking for something that can neutrally one-hit KO while surviving a lot of things, or just outspeeding everything, or getting a little bit of setup. So that's kind of it. Like, you just bring fast Pokemon, and then you have a little bit of a core. And that's why I just recommend splashing in the Final Gambit. Final Gambit, just run something over, super quick, super free, and then you're going to be good to go from there. And also just really any kind of high coverage Pokemon, because you're going to see a lot of the same things over and over in the battle spot, and just having a Pokemon that can hit super effective with a Focus Sash or something. So it's either 2-hit KOing, hitting a super effective hit, getting a 1-hit KO, and that's effectively what you're looking for, 2-for-1 Pokemon. If your Pokemon can trade 2 for 1, and then you have a 2v1, you're going to have much better odds of winning the battle tree, and it can get kind of messy from there, but overall, that's going to be a way of increasing your safety, increasing the consistency on the battle tree. And then another thing I do recommend is going to be a type coverage calculator. So when we're looking at the Tapu Koko, we have the Electric, Ground, and Fairy. So we have Electric Fairy, and that means we're going to be resisted by these Pokemon right here. pretty much poison type Pokemon with some kind of extra resistance, well, ground is going to take care of that, and then the only thing that can stop us is a Shedinja, but shows that we have a good amount of super effective hits and then a lot of normal hits. So we just 2-hit KO everything, or at least we start finding some one-shots against a wide variety of Pokemon as well. So it's just kind of building up the coverage. We can look at the Porygon. Normal Ghost is going to be pretty solid, and then it's just kind of up to you if you want to run the extra coverage. We saw Bisharp, but using a neutral hit against the Bisharp, it's like, do you want to like use that extra move slot for that, or do you just want to have some extra safety and super effective hits? You tech in the Ice Beam, Pawniard and Bisharp are still going to wall you out, but you're still doing a lot of damage, so you can kind of go and look at the Porygon Z for the coverage. It has all kinds of fun things. You can run the Dark Pulse for the reliability. I guess you could even do like a Hidden Power Fighting, because when you look at the 2 Pokemon that resist you, it's going to be 4 times to the Fighting type moves, so that's always pretty nice to have. And you can even run the Recover. Just Tri-Attack, Shadow Ball. As we can see, nothing's immune to us, and few Pokemon are going to be resisting us anyways, so then we can just run the Recover on top of it with our +1s, and then just use Porygon to sweep through the game like that. And we can also go and look at the rewards for the battle tree. So yeah, this wouldn't be a battle tree guide if I didn't talk about the BP and stuff. So here's where things get weird, and also like the difficulties of a battle tree guide and things, that if you need to use the items, you know, you need Life Orb, you need choice items, well, you get those by earning battle points, which means you have to have good battle tree Pokemon, but you can't get good battle tree Pokemon without the breeding items that you need battle points for that. So you have to pretty much just kind of chump your way through it for a while, or into competitions. The Alola Friendly gave 50 battle points. That's a head start. That's either one really good item, as you can see right here. That's going to be your one choice scarf that you need to start off a Final Gambit strat. That's a couple of power items, so you can get your EV training done in a quick manner. Or that's a weakness policy. Weakness policy, Dragon Dance, Dragonite. Good luck, have fun, go out and win, something like that. So you can use it to buff up on the Pokemon that you need to be carrying through the early parts of the battle tree, or you can also start working on it for making a more diverse team, and then after that, that's how you can start getting the battle points. And you want to get very high streaks, then the battle points rewards are going to be higher per battle. And as we can see right here, that's also how you unlock the Mega Stones. So if you want to start using some of these super OP Mega Pokemon, and if you want to start unlocking those super powerful Pokemon, you have to start doing good in the battle tree. So yeah, try to look for any of those opportunities. The Alola Friendly giving those free battle points is going to be pretty massive. And then you just kind of have to go out and win battles. Sometimes cheese works, sometimes gimmicks work, like the Final Gambit. It's been very successful for me, so I think that that's something, at least I can add something. I can say, here are your items, here are your battle points. By the way, doing Final Gambit with it and Aegis Slash is also really nice. And then you have a personal tech Pokemon that does really well, like the Tapu Koko, like the Tapu Lele, like the Golisopod. Golisopod, because that emergency exit, like, it can just two-shot a lot of Pokemon, and it softens things up for the rest of your team to just do very well. Golisopod, first impression, massive damage. You go into Excelgor, it can Energy Ball or Bug Buzz to finish off the opponent, then it Final Gambits for the win. You know, there's a lot of strange things that could happen. That's pretty much it for the battle tree. A guide is kind of necessary, kind of not necessary. It's more guidance. That once you have the confidence to just go in there and play something, you're going to do better at the battle tree if you just do it, than necessarily like, here's the top 3 Pokemon to run, just do this team, GG. But overall, there are going to be Pokemon that are better than others, and if you want a fast battle, you have to use some pretty strong ones. So if you guys enjoy the video, hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching.